Hey everybody, and welcome back to Vinyl Talk with Tavis, and I'm Tavis, and I hope you all are having a great day. I am continuing my series about the albums that changed my life, and this is video 2, and this album that I'm going to speak about is a gospel album. It's called the New Jersey Mass Choir, Look Up and Live. It came out in the year 1986, and there's a great story behind this album. The choir director is Donnie Harper. The great songs on here that are very well known are I'll Tell It, Praise Him, which is the main song I want to talk to you about. And I think those are my favorite songs on this album. So if you love gospel music, gospel choirs from the 80s, you will love this album. Those of you who are familiar with it, please let me know in the comments below. I apologize for the wind sound you hear, but that's just the way it is right now. I'm outside, as you can tell, loving this crazy weather in which it's raining and there's no sunshine. Well, there's sunshine, but you don't see it because the clouds are covering up the sun. But it gives great video. Anyway, let's get back to this album. The New Jersey Mass Choir, Look Up and Live. So when I was a little boy, I just had a propensity for music and how to sing it. I would listen to people sing and I could mimic them. I could mimic runs. Runs are when you take a vowel sound like ah, and you can make different notes with that sound. Ah, all these singers today, they do it all the time. Beyonce, she can hold a note and just float it. All that soulful stuff that people do. But I also wanted to play the piano. And I had two great aunts. My mother's side of the family, her sister, and my dad's sister. I would borrow a keyboard from my mother's sister, and because she was trying to get her daughter to play the piano, but she wasn't really interested in it, so I would always bring it home. And I started to play the piano with these 2 fingers, 4 fingers rather, 2 fingers on each hand. That's the best I could do at age 13, 14. So that's what I was doing. I could find the note or the notes, and I would, oh, that sounds good. What else could I do with my fingers to make it sound even better? So I got really, really good at that. I was playing at churches, y'all, with 4 fingers. People thought it was amazing. And back then, we also had other pianists who could play by ear. In our black churches around this area, we had 3 major black churches in this area. And they all had pianists who were just wonderful. So people would come up and sing some type of gospel song, and then either the pianist of the church would come up and play for them, or they'd bring their own pianist, especially if they were out of town coming into our small town here. And so I started playing for this group called the Voices of Deliverance, and that included my dad's sister, my dad's mom, and some other people. I think there were like 6 women in this group, and they were awesome. They could sing their faces off. The leader of the group, her name was Evora, and we called her Eva for short. She was such a great singer, and back in the day, during church service, if they would call people up to sing, they would walk up singing to the stage. They wouldn't get to the stage and start singing. For a dramatic entrance, they would stand up from their pews and start singing right then. It was just amazing. It was just theatrical for me. So they were having a rehearsal one night, and I decided to play the piano for them with my 4 fingers. And my dad's sister, I was recording it as well on a recorder, and she told me as we were listening to the playback, she said, you play the piano good, Tavis, but there's something missing. And she didn't have the music theory to know how to actually say the original word. But she said there's a bunka bunka missing. She called it bunka bunka. That's all she could describe it as. In other words, the bass, there was no bass because I was just playing with these 4 fingers in the middle of the piano. I wasn't really focusing on the bottom or the left side of the piano and not really hitting a lot of the keys on the right side of the piano. Everything was in the middle. And as soon as she said bonka bonka, I knew what she meant. And I felt so bad. But I also felt very determined. And at that time, I was collecting gospel records. And this record here, the song Praise Him, right there, to me, that bass line fascinated me. Dun 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 do 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 do. I'm like, man, if I could play that, that's the bonka bonka I need. I practiced that, you all, for 3 nights. I would go to school, think about it, come home, play it. I was driving my mom and dad crazy with that little keyboard. My auntie was wanting the keyboard back. No, I needed a few more days. I wore the cassette out because I didn't have the record. I had the cassette. I played it over and over. And then all of a sudden, it clicked. I had a euphoric moment. Eureka moment, that's the word. The light just came on. And I said, well, if I can do that with this song, I think I can understand the bass lines of other songs. And that's how my life changed. This album changed my life. In fact, there's a song on here called You Changed My Life. Yo, if you are interested to find out how the song sounds, I'm going to leave a link below. This was a life-changing album. It changed my whole piano technique. It changed the way I played the keyboard. And when I began to learn the bass of the piano, I didn't have any theory. I didn't understand what I was playing, but I knew what sounded good. And most piano players, really, really good piano players, they start out playing by ear. Many black musicians, especially gospel musicians, they start out playing by ear. Aretha Franklin did, James Cleveland did, James Brown, all these great singers who could play soulful, it was all started in the church. And they would look at people's hands and just mimic what they saw, mimic what they heard, and they would have a natural ear of what sounded good. So this is the album, one of the albums that changed my life. Why don't you share an album, just one album or more, that really changed your life? Everybody, hope you're having a great day. And as always, with music and life-changing albums, be inspired and stay inspired.